Good morning, everyone. It is me, Sarb Johal, at the TechPacker. Welcome, TechPackers. It's nice to say that for the first time. You might have noticed this door. This door has been painted. Going back to this view, I might have changed. If you've watched a couple of my last videos, you'll have seen the background had changed slightly. That really wasn't working that well for me because of the way the light and the mics were kind of like working in this very, very crammed room that I have here. So this was brown. It's now this kind of weird browny white because the varnish, I think, here got kind of damaged by the sun coming in through this window. And so now it's kind of like damaged the door, and this is what it looks like. So until I figure out another solution, this is how it's going to look for a while with this lovely antique old door handle as well. I don't know about antique, but it's there anyway. So today, let's have a look at my schedule. I've got a coffee, so I invite you to grab a drink and sit down with me, and we'll have a bit of a chat. This is premium check-in. So this is what I'm going to be doing a couple of times a month for the TechPacker community, where we'll just kind of like get together, maybe discuss some of the videos that I've put out over the past month, and also, you know, what's going on in the world of tech gear, gadgets, and apps for travel. But also, you know, what are the best places that people have been to in the last month or so, no matter what your mode of travel might be. You know, maybe you've been by air. You know, often that's the only choice to get to particular places, not particularly sustainable. But when I am or get to places, I try to travel by train as much as possible. So we'll be, you know, one of the focuses that I will be talking about is like, you know, really cool train trips that we can be doing as well. All right, let's have a look at where we are. All right, so today, let's talk about Black Friday. Let's talk about what you got in Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the whole weekend. I hope you have a good Thanksgiving, all of you who celebrate. Actually, you know what? There weren't that many deals in New Zealand that I could see. You know, there were kind of like the usual sort of like, let me just turn this off, 20% kind of like off a price. And you weren't really that certain as to whether that price was a genuine price, you know, something that had been hiked up just before the Black Monday, Cyber Monday sale. Meaning that they could get a good kind of headline discount put on that price for that thing that they're trying to sell or offload. I'm sure that people have got lots of inventory that they want to get rid of. So yeah, the Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales were not that great, I have to say, in New Zealand. And I think that they were better in the US from what people were telling me. I put a little poll up on my community page. A few people said that they picked up Black Friday travel gadgets. Myself, pretty much the only thing I did get a set of kitchen scales for my wife. They're going to arrive later on in about 10 days' time when they source them. But for myself, I got a flight, which is a Black Friday sale, which is just across. I'm in Wellington, in the south of the North Island of New Zealand, just across the Cook Strait to Nelson, which is a lovely place. It's probably like the sunniest place in New Zealand. It's often vying for that title with other places in New Zealand, but I think it's winning at the moment. So I'll just be hopping over across there, and that was a flight for January next year. So that was cool. I think it was like $59 each way or something like that, which is a nice little deal. But yeah, what did you get? If you did get anything, let me know in the chat or post a comment if you're watching this afterwards. What great deals did you get? I know some people got, I think, some Canon cameras that they picked up pretty cheap. But yeah, I didn't pick up any particular gear, but I did pick up a good travel deal. Next up, let's talk Insta360. Now, I don't know if you know, but Insta360 last week, just over a week ago, put out a new camera, I think it was just over a week ago. It's called the Ace and the Ace Pro. And these are new action cameras from Insta360. Now, they've not really gone in this kind of like straight action camera market before. They had the One RS and the One R, which had the interchangeable lenses that had to be in the cage to keep it kind of all together and waterproof. And that had interchangeable lenses. So it could be a 360 camera and it could be an action camera too. And actually, the action camera was not bad. They had this kind of like boosted 4K uh, little module that you could put in with the One RS, and that worked quite well. But this is something else. I don't have my hands on one just yet. I'm hoping to get my hands on one in a little while. But from what I can see, what I've jotted down, it's 8K, which is great. I'm not sure how useful that will be actually, given how most people are watching in kind of like 4K max, but useful for kind of like cutting and cropping and stuff. The Leica Summit lens should be really good for low light with the Ace Pro. So yeah, that's something that I think could be good. And from what the kind of like the trailers and the promos that Insta360 have put up, it does look like a decent kind of innovation there. I do like the idea of the generative AI as well. It kind of looks a bit gimmicky as well, but I'm really interested to see how well it does. I know that there are limits as well. I think you can do like 50 maybe in a month, and they can only be 2 to 4 seconds long. But interesting little snippets, I think. Particularly if you can extend maybe one scene, use maybe 3 or 4 your clips to make it like 10 seconds long. It might be useful and really interesting for social media. Cool little point of difference that sets that camera apart from what I think is its main competition, which is the GoPro series, and I guess the Osmo Action 4 as well. I don't think the Go 3 is its competition. Like, I know it's the same brand, but I think the Go 3 is kind of meant more for your kind of like everyday vlogger. Not they don't necessarily want an action camera. That's not what their lifestyle is about. I think the Ace and the Ace Pro is filling that niche for people who perhaps like the Go 3, but it's not as robust as what they want. And they would sacrifice the smallness for a decent action camera. They're not that interested in 360 either. So I think Insta360 have honed in on a particular market of people who kind of like want vlogging capability, don't want 360, but they want something that's more hard-wearing. So I think it's an interesting niche that exists. And I think that it's going to give the GoPro series some interesting competition. So I'd be interested to see how this is going to work out. If you do have an Ace Pro or an Ace, or if you've had your hands on one, please say hello in the comments, and just say hi anyway. It's nice to know that people are out there and listening. So yeah, I'm hoping to get hold of an Ace Pro or an Ace in the next wee while. And when I do, you can be sure I'll post up an impressions video, and then I'll probably do a head-to-head versus the GoPro 12, and maybe even a little bit of analysis as to what I've just been talking about, like who is this camera for and how does it compare with all the other offerings that are out there at the moment. I suspect it's going to stack up pretty well from what I've seen of the specs, but also what people have already been posting with it. It looks like a really interesting and fun camera that people might want to use. Okay, so we talked about Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Not really many deals out. I bought one flight, very short hop flight. The Insta360 Ace and Ace Pro are looking really cool. My plans for this channel. Let's talk about that. So you'll have noticed that I was kind of like in between Easy Travel Tech and the TechPacker, and in the end, I went for the TechPacker because I think that kind of more encapsulates what I'm after in terms of light and easy travel stuff that you can, maybe even just one bag travel. I did a little community poll, and I saw that most people were kind of either traveling with just one bag or one bag and the maximum kind of check-in baggage that they can put in. Sorry, just one check-in baggage that they can put in on the flight as well. But I think one bag travel is getting more and more common because people kind of like, A, don't want to lose their bag, and B, low cost airlines are starting to come back in again, and they're trying to keep their costs down. And then you're going to have to wear a lot of those costs. And they're really kind of like trying to claim costs off people as much as possible. And that includes your carry-on. So anything that you can do to travel with light, easy to use gear that isn't going to weigh you down, that's going to enable you to get the best out of your experience, but tech that's not going to be a hassle and delivers real bang for your buck. Because, everybody's struggling at the moment with, they want to have a good time, they want to have good experiences, but they also are limited in terms of their budget. So that's what this channel is going to be about. This channel is going to be getting the best bang for your buck with gear and gadgets that are going to make your life easy and not get in the way. Tech should be a help and not a hassle. That is my firm belief, and that's what I'm going to be presenting and talking to you about on this channel. But I'm also going to be talking to you about dream destinations, places where, that are hot, that are cool, that I mean, in terms of like buzz, not their temperature, in terms of where people are kind of like interested in going to, but also places off the beaten track. I'll try and highlight some places where you may not have thought of about visiting. And I'll be thinking about trying to do that in sustainable ways as well. Sure, you might need one flight to get there and get out again. But when you're there, what can you do in terms of travel, like train or coaches and buses, things like that, that kind of like or bike or feet or on your foot. And that really kind of like shrink your carbon footprint and really thinking about responsible, sustainable travel, as well as you having a great experience, because often that is part of the experience. I love traveling by train because you actually see the country as you're traveling through. And you've got the opportunity to stop off as well, which is just absolutely lovely and can lead to lots of unexpected encounters and opportunities for great experiences. Hey, the UK today. Nice to see you there. I guess your Ace, is it the Ace or the Ace Pro that you're going to get arriving tomorrow? I'm excited for you, man, or woman. I'm really interested to hear your experience of that. So maybe post a comment on this live stream once you've got it and you've had a little bit of play with it, you've had a chance to get to know it. Let me know your thoughts about it. I'm really, really interested about that. So yeah, so the channel, that's what it's about. That's where I'm at. I'm going to be curating. All kinds of travel gear, gadgets, and experiences so that you don't have to. This is all about ideas for you, and also showing you how to use the gear in an easy way and comparing maybe when you're making that decision as to kind of what is it that you're going to buy, pros and cons of different choices and gear that might be out there in the market. And that might be travel tech, or it might be bags, or it might be shoes or hats or whatever it is that kind of like people are interested in at that time. Ace Pro, nice. I'm really interested to see how that's going to function with low light level, but also they've got this kind of like AI selfie stick removal as well. And that I was like, oh, that's really interesting, because that's what people are used to with 360 cameras. So I think a lot of people who are like into Insta360 gear might be interested in that for an action camera too. Something that's really robust. So yeah, cool. Really good. Looking forward to hearing from you. Okay, so regular features that are going to be coming up. We're going to have this kind of premium check-in, which I'll probably do for kind of like running for half an hour to an hour, maybe longer sometimes if there's like a ton of people show up as the channel grows. And premium check-in really is about chance for us to kind of get together, talk about what's been on the channel, talk about what's coming up for you, talk about what gear is coming out or has just come out, and all of that kind of stuff. So premium check-in a couple of times a month. That's what we do, wherever it is in the world that I am. I'll talk about trips coming up in a little while. And then the second, two big videos that are going to be kind of regular monthlies. The first one is Fresh Tech Tuesday. So on the first Tuesday of every month, I'm going to do a roundup of what's happened in the past month of travel, tech, gear, gadgets, all kinds of stuff. And so that's what I'll be focusing on Fresh Tech Tuesday. And we'll have a roundup video. That'll be a pre-record. That'll be out on the first Tuesday of every month, New Zealand time, that is. So it might be a Monday for you. And then the next one's going to be Triple D Day, and that's your dream destination. Your dream destination day. That's it. So 3 days. And so there we're going to be talking about all those cool, awesome places that people are kind of have been to or are thinking about going to, or that are selling like hotcakes in terms of destinations that the travel agencies or tourism boards are kind of like pushing and selling. And I will have a look at those places and talk about, what is it that's interesting about these places and what can you do? What can you expect? And is it worth your bother or time, depending upon what you're interested in? So yeah, we'll do that kind of like a roundup of once a month. That'll be kind of like around about the middle of the month, plus those 2 community check-ins as well. So that's my tent pole. They're my kind of like cornerstone pieces of content, as well as that tech comparison, tech gadget, and tech guides that you'll be getting, as well as travel apps and destination guides as well. So yeah, I'm going to be busy. I'm really, really looking forward to it. All right, so what can you expect from me? We've covered that. Let's talk about trips that I'm going to be taking over the next month. Well, just have a sip of my coffee. Next month, let's talk about the next few months. Next month, I'm going to Nelson, which is again just across, as I explained, over the Cook Strait, over the water. It's about 30-minute flight, and I'll be spending the day there in Nelson. I'll probably be testing a little surprise for you. I've got a little thing arriving next week, and I'll be going out and shooting with that, and the video will be up the next day. So watch out for that. It's an interesting little surprise I've got for you. I cannot tell you anymore. That's what's coming up next week, and I'll be filming that. I'll showing you a little bit of Nelson as well. And I'll be going back to Nelson, and I'll do something a little bit more adventurous when I'm there, I hope. And that will be at the end of January next month. We've got a couple of things for the family booked in, and I might post a couple of videos when I'm on the road or do a community check-in, and I'll show you around where we're going to be. It's going to be up the coast here on the North Island of New Zealand in a place called Waitarere. It's kind of like a beach community. And we're just going up with the family there. I'll have Wi-Fi, so I'll probably do a community check-in just there. And that'll be just before Christmas. The UK Today just done 3.5k miles in 9 days for full photo agency. 3.5k. What? Paris, Strasbourg, then Germany, Turin, then UK. Wow, that's a lot. You do that all on the road, UK Today, or was that, were you flying, or were you on the train, or what were you doing? Or yeah, I'm interested. And what were you doing? It says photo bag at the end. So tell me, were you testing it, or what were you doing? Let me know in the chat. Okay, so that's December and January. In February, I'm going back to Japan. And this time, I just had some news overnight, which means I might change my plans a little bit. This time, if you remember last time, I went on a 7-day Japan Rail pass, which was an incredible deal. Prices have just shot up now by about 50%, so it's less of a great deal. So this time I'm kind of going to be avoiding the JR pass. I'm going to be going for kind of sustainable still transport. So I'm going to avoid flights when I'm in Japan, and I'm going to be taking other train lines or other excursions, probably sticking around kind of the radius of Tokyo, which is where I'm going to be basing myself. So I'm thinking about Nikko, which is up in the mountains, kind of like an onsen snow resort. Hakone, which is like down to the south of Tokyo, which is kind of like a volcanic area, which is going to be really interesting. There are some offshore islands off Tokyo as well, but I'm not sure I'm going to tackle those. And there are lots of other day trips in and around Tokyo, which I'm thinking about as well, like places like Yokohama, Odaiba, which is not even a day trip, it's just kind of a half day really. But I'm also thinking about going to Osaka. I didn't manage to get to Osaka, which is Japan's second biggest city. And I'll probably try and take the night bus on that. I have taken a night bus in Vietnam. It was an okay experience. Didn't get much sleep. The Japan ones are supposed to be a bit better. So I'll be thinking about taking a Japan bus pass, which you can buy for like 3 days or 5 days. And that includes overnight buses as well. So it might be a good way of kind of like saving a bit of accommodation and getting some miles under my belt in a sustainable way, getting from A to B too. It's interesting. It's such a big country in terms of how much of a train network there is in Japan. But because the train network is so good, there are actually very few overnight trains in Japan because there's kind of no need to. The Shinkansen is expensive comparatively, and it's got more so, but it's quick. And so you can get from A to B pretty quickly. So there's very few opportunities to do that. The slow way of doing it and the more the best value way of doing it these days is probably going to be by highway bus. So I'm going to explore doing that, and I'm going to be telling people if they're visiting Japan what your options are and how to do it. I'm going to be showing you how to do it. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing in February. March, I've got not much planned at the moment. Let's have a look at the chat again for a second. Hey, UK Today. Driving and photo shoots in all cities. Took the Lumix EM1 Mark II, T95, Olympus, Insta360 RS, Insta C360 X3. Brilliant long trip and photo agency. Awesome. Awesome. That's great. I'm really pleased for you. It's great when you manage to get a gig like that and it all comes off, because I imagine the coordination there was like something else, trying to pull that all together. I know the coordination for my August trip to Japan that I just did just took months, and it's kind of half the fun, but also like a little bit stressful when a typhoon comes in and mucks up your plans and you're having to kind of do stuff on the fly as well. I understand why big channels have people around them to sort all that stuff out, because I was trying to do all that on the fly as well as kind of like capture footage too. A lot of which you haven't seen yet on this channel, but I will be putting it out. I have got a video which I'm just halfway through preparing on Miyajima, which is coming out probably at the weekend, which is a small island off the coast of Japan near Hiroshima. So I was in Hiroshima, and you can do Miyajima as a day trip, and I squeezed it into a half-day trip. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And yes, I am lucky, and I love Japan, UK today, and I'm going back again in February. And I'm hoping to make that a little bit more of a regular kind of thing. I'll constantly be putting out over the year little bits of morsels of Japan, and because I just absolutely adore the place. All right, so we got up to March. Haven't got anything in March sort of like put into the diary yet, but I'm sure that there will be something that comes up, or if not, I will create something. And then April, I'm going to be going back to the UK. This is really kind of very much a family trip again, but I'm hoping this time I'll have a little bit of time to do some other stuff too. So I'm maybe trying to do some stuff showing people some of the more unusual sites in London that people can do, some of the kind of the must see things to do. I might do my own sort of like top 3 and top 10 of London, given that I was born and grew up there. Might be an interesting thing to do, or to revisit places, because I haven't lived there for quite a long time now, but I do visit regularly. You know, apart from the kind of like blip that we had over the last few years, I do tend to go back once or twice a year for a significant period of time. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going back in April, catching up with my folks, catching up with my friends, and doing a little bit of filming too. And then later on in the year, I'm hoping to take at least one trip to Australia during that time, when I can get some deals in. I'd love to go back to Melbourne. I love Melbourne. I've got friends in Melbourne. Sydney, I like as well. I don't love it as much as Melbourne. Sydney's possibly a more attractive kind of like shooting place to be, but then it's kind of like everybody's kind of like shot films in Sydney. I've done that too, so maybe it'd be interesting to do something else. It's only one really underestimated place, but it's really hard to get to in Australia, which I'd love to go back to. I was there in 2003, I think. Is Darwin. Darwin is an incredible place. You know, you've got Kakadu National Park, you've got Litchfield National Park, you've got just so many nature opportunities and wilderness and exploration opportunities there. I had a wicked time when I was there, but it's so hard to get there, and it's very expensive. I was on a 2-month road trip going from Perth right up to Darwin, on the road, getting on a bus when I wanted to carry on going up north. Yeah, it was an awesome trip, but it's really hard to get to. Very expensive to fly there. I wouldn't do it from here. And I took out 2 months, which is kind of, I guess, what I was doing at that time. I was kind of like having a little bit of a nomad life. I was kind of doing a little bit of work on the way and then traveling most of the time. So that was it was an interesting time in my life, and I love Darwin. Love to get back there, but certainly hoping to get back to Australia at some point this year. And then possibly back to Europe in sort of September, October, towards the end of next year. And then I'm actually going to try and do a little bit of traveling around in Europe this time, because most of the time when I'm back there, I stick to the UK. But this one will probably be a solo trip. The kids will probably stay at home, and I will probably try and make some time to get over to Europe mainland, and then maybe, I don't know, I'll figure out what's kind of like hot at the time and try and figure out some travel arrangements, maybe for just 3 or 4 days, and then back to the UK and then another 3 or 4 days. We'll see how that goes. All right. So that's me. UK today. Have you got any other photo agency trips booked? And I'm interested to, we're using the RS as an action camera, and then the X3, I guess, as a 360 camera, or were you using both of those as action cameras? I'm interested to see how that fit in to your equipment kind of portfolio, what were you using them for. Yeah, so I'm pretty much done there today. That's just kind of like what I wanted to let you know about with the channel, what's coming up. So this week coming up, I'll let you know there's going to be a vlog showdown that I'm putting out between the Go 3 and the Hero 12. Which is going to be the best for you if you're thinking about going on a trip and you want a camera that's going to be good for vlogging, which is going to be the best one for you in multiple situations that you might end up in and want to use it for vlogging. So Insta360 Go 3 versus GoPro Hero 12 Black. That's coming out probably early part of this weekend. And then at the back end of the weekend, I'll have the Miyajima guide island in Japan. And then next week, I've got a surprise video coming out around about midweek, probably latter part of the next week. And then on Tuesday, it is the first Tuesday of the month, so you can look forward to Fresh Tech Tuesday, which I'll be working on over the weekend. Italy next. I use them for stills. Use them for stills. Interesting. And video for agencies, believe it or not. Wow. Okay. I love that. I love the fact that you're able to do that and that your agency is open to it. I am seeing, interesting, you say that, I am seeing 360 shots, definite 360 shots being used by journalists in New Zealand that are being posted up on news websites. I'm seeing that, particularly like the travel or the more lifestyle feature stuff, but I'm even starting to see them being used in ads. Now, I know that the BBC were using Insta360 or some kind of 360 cam shots with these kind of like peaceful country walks during the blip. I know that people were doing that. And I was really surprised. I remember tuning into BBC. Like, I think it was May last year. It was just after I could get back into the UK and leave New Zealand after the blip. And I saw this show and I was like going, that's a 360 camera being used on a mainstream BBC show. And that looks like a handheld. It doesn't look like it's a pro kind of like level device, like an $8,000 device. That was like a $400 device. And it was okay. And, you know, clearly they came up with a mic solution that worked better, but mostly it was voiceover. So it was interesting that they did that too. So yeah, that was really interesting that they were using that. So I'm interested that, yeah, UK Today, yeah, used for ads. Yeah, I'm seeing that too here for ads, but also, like I say, mainstream shows. Yeah, maybe not big viewership, but definitely an audience that is interested in, you know, having the kind of like fake drone shots in places where you're not able to use it, with still kind of like the mic attached and synced with what's going on. And then having that kind of like sideways follow third-person view shot as well, which was really interesting to see it being used in that way. And it wasn't a one-off. I saw it being used show after show after show, and it's a very peaceful kind of show. It wasn't an action show. It was an interesting use, I think. I don't know, fair play to them for you know, using it and also getting the kind of producers to agree to use it. I'm sure. That was a while back as well. I'm sure it probably wasn't that easy to get them to use that, particularly with the quality that you get out. I guess it might have been a streaming first kind of like show, and they're like, you know, that doesn't matter so much. It'll be kind of like big screen after on replay. It's a streaming first kind of show. Yeah, right. UK Today. Interesting. Most agencies you shoot for advertise online, so forget large file full frames. I think you're right. I think people are looking for light and easy to edit, light and easy to shoot, light and easy to grab, and then repurpose as well. I think that's a great thing about 360 video, but also action cam video that's kind of like shooting with this new 8x7 frame format. I'm not sure what the Ace Pro is going to do. I know they have the kind of like traditional free frame multi-purposing again, but I'm not sure what res that would be in. But I know that the GoPro Hero 12 shoots in 8.7, which means that you can cut in the vertical and cut in the horizontal as well and still say in 4K. So that's interesting, that if you supply them the raw files of that kind of footage, you can repurpose it. And for online advertising agencies, I can see how that would be really appealing for them if they've got people working on that. Or maybe that's something that you process as well. I'm not sure. is that Ace Pro will be perfect. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'd love to have an outlet that I could supply that footage to. So yeah, props to you. If you've got any tips, I'm all ears about how to do that kind of thing or approach people in New Zealand, because that sounds like a really good kind of like a little setup that you've got there. Italy, you're going to Italy. I think the last time I went to Italy, I was just talking to my wife about it. I was thinking I'd love to go back again. I think it must have been Bologna. I think I went for a day trip. Must have been about 10 years ago, at least. Maybe. I think it was on a visit to the UK. I loved it. It was a great old university town. I think I just ate the whole time I was there. I think I landed. I think I went for coffee. Then I went for brunch. And then I went for lunch. And then I went for second lunch. And then I think I went for early dinner. Then I went to the airport. Yeah, I think I pretty much just walked and ate the whole day. It was so great. It was such a lovely day. And I hope to get and repeat that experience again sometime soon. Yeah, but most of the time I think I spent in Italy was back when I was 20, when I was interrailing. I don't know if you're based in Europe and if you remember that. I know you can still do it, but I think it's a little bit more difficult now. But interrailing, we had one kind of like ticket pass that you can get on any train, with few exceptions, throughout the whole of Europe. And literally, I've still got my ticket. It's literally you just write out where you are and where you're going to, and then the guard on the train would stamp it. And it was just lovely. It was just an amazing experience for 30 days. I do think I lost maybe about 10 pounds doing it. I think I was doing it on 10 pounds a day in the UK. So I pretty much slept on trains or camped the whole time I was around. I remember it being a very, very tight budget, but didn't stop me from having a fantastic time. But yeah, I did spend quite a lot of time, I think, in Venice. In Venice and in Turin. No, not Turin. Was the in Tuscany. What's the capital of Tuscany again? Slips my mind. Anyway, yeah, that's where I was to see all the galleries, the Uffizi. Yeah, I went to the Uffizi. Florence, that's it. So spent a few days in Florence as well. That was amazing. Okay, I think I'm gonna wind up there. Being on for about half an hour. Not a ton of people on here today, but hey, if you're watching it on replay, I'd love to see you on the channel. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here, UK today. Have a lovely time with the Ace Pro tomorrow. And don't forget to let me know on the comments on this video. I'll be looking out for it, and let me know how you go with it. That'd be great. And if you've got any tips about agencies, drop me a message and I'll have a little chat with you. All right. I'll wind up there for today. Thanks very much, everyone. And I will catch you soon. Watch out for those videos. See you later, TechPackers. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here.